woman smiles in a slow-mo selfie. Titles, Faster Face ID. People unlock their iPhone 11 using Face ID. A baby looks down at a white iPhone 11. The screen reads, Face not recognized.
I'm probably going to have nightmares tonight. Thanks a lot, Serena.
You're welcome for the reality check.
Serena, do you know how he uses toothpaste?
I don't know where you're going.
It's personal information I'm not allowed to share.
I got my own toothpaste.
I know. I tried that one night, Jeff. It was really weird.
I can put the toothpaste tube in my mouth if I want to.
But I do a lot of shopping at a local boutique, and you can use Apple Pay on Square on your phone.
You know, without an Apple Watch, you're risking your life today.
If you're doing a homework assignment for your class, don't quote that Blind Tech show ever.
No.
We are not a reliable source. It's very easy to walk into a door there because everything's clear.
Can you explain to me what in the world a Slofi is?
I would suggest that they wait. I'm now on the iOS 13.1 public beta 2 because Apple's weird and I've never seen them do this before, but they released the public betas of 13.1 before they even got out a beta of iOS 13.
Like I said, my single biggest focus is football. No, preparing for Laugh for Sight. If they're in the New York City area, Monday, October 28th.
With iOS 13, I will say that it significantly improves your ability with VoiceOver to take some really good pictures because it gives you a lot more information on the positioning of your camera.
It's autumn, folks. Autumn. Be joking. Let's go.
I had dirty joke in mind, but I decided to skip it. Otherwise, Serena would have chastised me.
I'm sure you'll have another one.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Oh, I have a filter on this show.
No, I don't think you do.
I do have a filter.
You mean the condom on your microphone? Is that it?
Well, no, that's to protect my above head position from any serious injury. I'm talking about a mental filter. I use a mental filter on this.
It's not working. Helmet? It's broken.
Do you have your safety helmet on?
Jeff, I put it on as soon as I wake up in the morning and take my mouth guard and retainer off.
That's great. Let's get the show rolling.
Okay, mental filter in place. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to That Blind Tech Show. I'm here today, or this evening, with Serena Gilbert, who's the only member of That Blind Tech Show podcasting team that could brag that she's 1-0 in our fantasy football league.
I know. One of you had Andrew Luck, right? The other has Antonio Brown, which I don't know if you just saw. There's a little news that just broke today with him, Jeff.
He did. I did point that out to him.
Just broke like an hour ago.
I think I'll be okay at quarterback. Lamar Jackson looked pretty damn good for me the first week, Serena. 35 points. But I put up more points than you, Serena. It was just a tough matchup for me. So if you would have played me, I'd be 1-0 and you'd be 0-1.
No, I was super lucky. Like the team I went against left like 40 or 50 points on the bench. So I just got really lucky.
Wow. If you've played fantasy football, you know it's at least 70% luck, 30% skill. But the guy that thinks it's 100% skill, Jeff Thompson's here with us as well. How you doing this evening, Jeff?
I did not have relations with Antonio Brown.
That was not the news story that broke Jeff.
Yet.
I don't know where you're getting your notifications from, Serena, but that was the news story that broke on my phone.
Yeah. No, I'm doing pretty good. Fresh out of the apple orchard and ready to chat about it.
And Jeff, we established on the last show that you were the first member of That Blind Tech Show to have the Apple credit card. I also have one now, but how's it working out for you? Have you used it yet? Have you played around with the app in the wallet at all to check out your spending habits?
No, I haven't used it yet. I got it, and it was really neat because on the cardboard, all you had to do was scan down and touch the phone near the bottom edge of it, and you were just basically signed up. I know some people had trouble with that, and we made a note in the show notes not to throw the cardboard away because they don't really tell you that information, and you called me up about that, Brian. Remember that?
Yeah, Serena, Jeff was like, you need to scan the box that it came, the envelope, and I'm like, I am scanning it, and I guess I was not paying attention. I realized that there were actually 2 envelopes, and I threw both of them out, and I went to get the other one, and I kept scanning it, and it wouldn't work. And Jeff was explaining it to me real slow, so even I could understand it, but I had the wrong envelope, and if you use the wrong envelope, it doesn't work, Serena. So that was bad.
That is weird.
No, I put the card in my wallet and there it is, safely sitting there. It's just kind of neat that I have it. I wanted to get it, went through the process, and it's not even enough to record what the process is because it's done. And you could take a selfie with yourself and go, hey, wow, but there's no numbers on it and there's no secret code on the back or something. So no one can grab anything off of it by looking at it. So interesting.
Yeah, I used my card once and I think it was a $56 charge and I got 56 cents back already. So I haven't really played around with it in the app too much. I did. It took a few days for it to show up. I was like, well, don't they have like a due date or something? But it eventually did show up at the end of the month. And I like it so far. So far, it's pretty good. I was a little surprised that they didn't even mention the Apple Card on all of the announcements. They didn't say, hey, have you checked out that new credit card? Pretty cool stuff. But one thing they kept repeating over and over again, on this show, Jeff likes to say, it's Apple. It just works. Serena, I kept hearing over and over during all the announcements, it's Apple. We made a video about it. What were your thoughts about all the great videos without described video during the keynote?
It's normal. Like, that's just what Apple does. Every time they introduce something, there's some video displaying something. And of course, it's shot on iPhone or, And I don't particularly enjoy them for obvious reasons. They never make them accessible. Even if you stream them on their own website, they don't have a way for you to get those descriptions of them.
Woman smiles in a slow-mo selfie. Titles, faster Face ID. People unlock their iPhone 11 using Face ID. A baby looks down at a white iPhone 11. The screen reads, face not recognized.
Yeah, I recorded the whole entire thing and I took out the videos. I got it down to 12 minutes now, the whole announcements.
Jeff, there are some mainstream tech blogs that got it down to 2 minutes, so do a little bit more editing there. I'm just kind of curious, are we demanding too much when we're saying these videos should be described during the keynote, Serena?
I think for a company like Apple, I don't think we are demanding too much because Apple specifically promotes inclusivity and making sure that things are accessible. I mean, they have a whole part of their website where they did a marketing campaign on all the cool, accessible things that you could do. And if you remember when they were announcing Apple TV Plus, I think it was in the spring announcements. If you actually looked on YouTube, they did have audio described versions of the videos that they played. So they obviously cared enough to create the tracks, just not to make them available until after the fact.
Well, they could have had an American Sign Language person in black over on the side doing that and put the circle in there. Then they could have another person describing the whole show, like screaming from the side. The movie's C, and there's a bunch of people clamoring around a village,
Village of idiots.
Idiots. Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
The village just called. They're missing their idiot.
Oh.
Brian, do you have your mic turned down lower than what you had it when we started?
No, I have it turned up. I have my hand on the knob. Why? Were you hearing me lower?
Yeah.
No, he's backed off and he's reading.
Oh.
He's got a camera on you.
No, you turned away when you're reading your next thing.
He's not listening. He's reading.
He acts like I've never heard a person talking to a microphone before.
You haven't.
Jeez.
How's that now? How am I now?
Now he's touching his microphone.
Hey. Some things are a little personal.
Hey, Brian.
Did you?
Yes.
Can you just have keywords? Like you just need one word to know what the next thing is?
No, because I have notes here that it's stuff I want to remember to say that aren't included in yours.
Oh.
I actually put some thought into this.
So you're scripted?
No. It's just, those are keywords that remind me of what to say.
Serena, you have a teleprompter going on, don't you?
Really? I'm blind, Jeff. How would I use a teleprompter?
Well, you read. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay,
3, 2, 1.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. September 19th, Apple Arcade is coming. Jeff, they brought up a game that I used to love as a kid on Atari, and figure Atari was probably a little before Serena's time, but Jeff, what was your favorite game on Atari?
Oh, there's Frogger. There's a whole bunch of them. There's Centipede, Asteroids, all sorts of different games back in those days, about the same time period. And so it was kind of neat to reminisce to see this pack that will be coming out that you can buy into for only $4.99. First month free. So there will be a lot of people checking it out. Now, as for accessibility, that's where I think we got to go with games like Audio Wizards from My True Sound or some other companies that are putting out games, that actually work for accessibility. But it's neat that people will have this opportunity.
Serena, don't you think some of these game developers should be able to develop at least a handful of games that aren't specifically designed for the blind that are accessible?
For years, I've wanted Monopoly accessible for those of us that use a screen reader, and it just never has happened, unfortunately. So I don't have my hopes up that there'll be a lot of accessible games, and if they are, it will just be by chance, or it'll be like card games or really simple dice games and things like that. There's just some games that unfortunately have such a visual interface that it's impossible to make accessible, even if we wanted it to be. But we'll see how Apple moves forward with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, some games, are probably impossible or would take next level geniuses that are not working at Apple to create to make fully accessible. But like you said, a basic Scrabble and Monopoly seem like they'd be fairly simplistic to make accessible. Risk. I used to have an accessible version of Risk, and I loved the game of Risk, and I don't know why they can't come up with an accessible version of Risk that's available to the mainstream and voiceover users. Serena, I know you've got a family. Jeff, you've got a family. I'm sure it would be nice to kick back and play some games with your family members.
Duck, duck, gray duck.
Unfortunately, I wasn't reading, so I heard that. That was definitely a swing and a miss.
What is he even talking about?
Gray duck? What's Duck, Duck, Gray Duck? I think he was trying to make a version of Duck, Duck, Goose.
So he's the gray duck? What?
Or an old version of Duck, Duck, Goose?
You guys, what do you guys call it? Duck, duck.
Are you the gray?
I think you know that.
Yeah.
No, we play duck, duck, gray duck.
I feel like Jeff is being serious right now.
No, he's putting on an act.
We call it duck, duck, gray duck. I've heard duck, duck, goose as well, but
What's Duck, Duck, Gray Duck?
I've never heard that.
Same game, different name.
Why is it Gray Duck?
Hammock. I don't know. Tomato.
Okay.
You Minnesotans.
Hot dish, casserole.
No. This is not in that.
What do you call it? Casserole?
This Duck, Duck, Gray Duck is not a real game. All right, boys.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. According to the 7 words, which is probably a trimmed down version that Apple are now using.
Jeff, you're jumping ahead in the outline.
I'm faster reader, Brian.
3, 2, 1. I know, Serena, you didn't get to see the keynote live because some of us have day jobs, but Jeff, did they not pick the perfect person with the perfect nerd voice to introduce the entire Apple Arcade? I was laughing. I don't know what was wrong with me, but the voice was just reminded me of the nerds back in the school days and everything.
Well, what do you expect from someone that's a college graduate, probably with computer science and probably in the gaming, and he's a real prodigy of the game itself. There he is.
I'm sure he was a brilliant individual, and hey, I'll be the first to admit the nerds have won, and I'm a nerd nowadays, but it was like the stereotypical nerd voice from Revenge of the Nerds. And when you can't see the person and all you have a voice to go on, that's what I was thinking of and everything. Serena, did you watch everything after the fact, or did you just read about everything?
I had to read about everything because I did not get home until a couple hours before we started recording, unfortunately. But I can only imagine the voice that you're describing. Be nice, Brian. Be nice.
It was something like that. No, I can't even do it. Like I said, I can't do impressions.
Good.
Jeff will splice it in right there for you. Don't worry.
So, Serena, what percentage of the blindness community do you think will cancel their Apple Arcade subscription after the first month?
99.97%.
Jeff, what do you think?
Well, it's just like Apple News. When that came out, people probably tried it and stuff like that and realized you can get the same stuff elsewhere.
I already forgot about Apple News.
Yeah, $9.99, folks.
Wow.
Yeah. If you do subscribe to the free trial, it will roll over and bite you that you'll have to pay $4.99. Make sure you know how to unsubscribe from something that you subscribe to. And do it in advance, because it'll let you go up until that date and then it'll cancel. So if you think about it 10 days in advance, go do it.
Yeah. I always put in my reminders. And Jeff, you could even put a demo maybe in here of how to cancel subscriptions, just where you go in the phone. That might be useful and everything.
I would just warn you, Jeff, that it significantly changes in iOS 13 how you cancel them. It's a lot easier. So I don't know if you have a device that you have 13 on, because it's a lot easier.
Oh, I could try and record something, although Jeff never uses any of my demos, so
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Why don't we just have a therapy session,
should.
folks?
This is therapy. This is my therapy.
Let's play doctor. You guys lay down on different couches, and I'll be the doc.
Jeff, you just made this creepy.
Yeah, I know. That sounded extremely... Jeff, you don't want to end up in any articles like Antonio Brown, so be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
This sometimes is group therapy.
Well, just don't send text messages about what you did if you do.
Just in time for the holidays, although with their limited amount of programs, you might be done watching them all before Thanksgiving. Launching November 1st for $4.99 instead of the $9.99 that a certain blind tech show reported last month. Not that blind tech show. This blind tech show might have reported the $9.99. But Apple TV Plus, Serena, will be launching for $4.99 November 1st. Do you plan to get it? I think some of their shows actually sound fairly interesting. And C was one of the shows I believe you were interested. We got a trailer for that today.
I probably will not be getting it, honestly. If I do, it'll be just for long enough to watch that particular show, and then I'll probably cancel it. I don't see a really big value in $4.99 for, 8 shows? That just doesn't make sense to me.
They did say they'd be adding new shows every month. So, and we know if Apple says something, they actually come out with it, right, Jeff?
AirPower.
And if you buy one of their brand new devices, you could get Apple TV Plus for free for a year.
But you know why they're doing that, right?
Because everybody will remember a month from now to cancel something, but a year from now, the odds of them remembering to cancel it are much lower.
Well, and if everybody that buys a new iPhone in the next, essentially sounds like the next year or whatever, gets that for free, then 6 months from now, they're going to be like, we have 20 million people that are using this service because they gave it for free to everybody that bought an iPhone. So it's a way for them to boost their numbers. And I think it's a little tricky, frankly, because you're right. A, most people won't remember. And B, it's going to look like there's much more people using the service than there really are.
That's very true. But I honestly could care less about any of the numbers that any of these tech companies have. All I care about is how the products work and if they work for me. So, Jeff, do you care about how many people are using iPhones, how many people are using Android, how many people are subscribed to Netflix? Does that affect you at all?
No, I have Netflix. I've had Netflix for a long time. I used to have it when they get the DVDs sent to you back then.
Me too.
Yeah. So this is a neat service. I mean, they undercut Disney $6.99 down to $4.99. They really undercut Netflix because I think Netflix is up near $14 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Disney's going to have the whole Disney catalog for only $2 more. Plus original shows, plus all kinds. I mean, it's such a, I don't know. I just feel like it's a much better value when you look at what you're getting with that subscription.
Well, people talk about cutting the cable, but when you start adding up Apple TV Plus, Disney, and then you got your other ones, a lot of people buy like the CBS or the NBC or other national broadcast services that they can get it. You can get 60 Minutes for a small price. These things start to add up when you start to compare it to the cable costs. I don't know if you're really benefiting.
Yeah, I'm old school. I still have cable. I have Netflix. I plan to get this Apple Plus. I'll check it out for the first month. I got to see my Jennifer Aniston show. I think they'll have some pretty good shows, as long as they keep adding. I mean, Netflix is just coming out with a ton of content. The funniest thing, though, Disney, Netflix, and I believe Roku stock all went down after Apple announced their $4.99 price plan. So then we got to the iPad 7th generation coming out, 10.2-inch screen, no Pro model announced, but Serena, I know you're not a big fan of the iPad, so I'm going to go to Jeff on this because I don't want to keep saying Serena's not a big fan of the iPad. 3, 2, 1. Apple's coming out with a new iPad, a 7th generation 10.2 model. Jeff, you and I are both frequent iPad users. Anything catch your eye about this latest, greatest iPad?
What really caught my eye was the price at $329. That's the same price that I paid. I beefed up the storage capacity, but for $329, I think it's a great entry point, especially for students or parents that want to get their children an iPad. Plus this one, you can use the pencil on it, which for sighted people is, that feature was an $100 edition if you bought it back when they released it in Chicago, that educational iPad, I call it. Well, now with all these features that they have on it today, plus the A10 chip, it's twice as fast. I'm shocked that they really went at that price point. Good for Apple.
Yeah, this price point was extreme. I don't need another iPad, but when you hear that price point, it's like, wow, And the only thing it's missing is the home button. Like I said, if there's one thing I've talked about on this show is how much I love my home button, and I guess I'm eventually going to have to get used to that, right, Serena? No home button?
Yeah, what are you going to do in a few years when your 8 Plus breaks?
Serena, are you trying to give me nightmares? Are you trying to give me a panic attack?
Well, I'm just saying, because there were rumors that there was going to be another SE type phone release with the home button, and obviously it wasn't. So it's very clear that that's the direction they're moving.
And that's why we don't speculate by doing a show beforehand, because we would have been all over. We would have had an hour show, and this show could actually be wrapped up in probably 10 minutes. There's not a lot, but there was a lot of rumors. And
that's why I never read a lot about the rumors anymore, because 90% of them are incorrect. And I still can't get over what Serena just said. I am probably going to have nightmares tonight. Thanks a lot, Serena, about, home button. I'll have to record the audio in my sleep. I'll probably be talking about my home button going away.
You're welcome for the reality check.
Speaking about home buttons, I heard that in the future they may be, this is a rumor, they may be having underscreen, like a photographic type of way of doing the fingerprint as a home button.
Like a virtual home button.
Yeah.
I remember the old people used to say you could never go home again, and that's the only thing that's coming into my head right now. Jeff, on your iPad, have you ever really made use of the multitasking or slide over features?
Never.
Yeah, me neither. I find, as a voiceover user, you're really just focused on the task at hand. And one of the other things they were talking about is a full screen effect. I don't know if it was just specific to Safari, but I've noticed in certain apps on the iPad, when they're not properly designed for the iPad, you press near the bottom where the tabs are and there's nothing there. You've got to kind of go a quarter inch up the screen, and that's where those buttons are. If you're familiar with the layout of the app that you've used, the same app on the iPhone, have you noticed that on the iPad as well?
Well, according to what's just coming out, I don't use a lot of that stuff, but what's coming out, what seems like that slide effect was, say you have multiple programs open, multiple apps open, that you can pull it across and see what's there, or you can fan it across and have them all there. It's interesting, but to navigate it with a screen reader, and then you have to navigate it with touch. So I don't know. I'm kind of glad the Mac never got to the touch screen, in a sense, but it just seems too complicated, too much real estate, too much going on for that feature to benefit me.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if that full screen, what they mean is those apps that I was talking about where they don't seem like they extend to the full screen. Maybe in the new iPad, they will extend to the full screen. So with all these exciting features coming out to the iPad, Serena, have we talked you into getting an iPad that you'll actually use?
I don't think so. At best, I would use one to maybe be able to watch Netflix more conveniently or something like that. But I don't see spending $330 just to be more conveniently able to watch Netflix when I have 2 laptops, an iPhone, several Apple TVs. I think I'll be okay with that one.
And we know you won't be watching Apple TV on that iPad.
Probably not.
Doon, 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 doon.
So Jeff, you can't have it both ways, buddy. You can't ask me not to read ahead.
No, it's
and
fine.
Pay attention
It's fine.
and then do that. Okay, you're amusing yourself. So,
what would you do if we ever had to go live?
Who, me? What would you do?
You'd fill in the gap.
I would be okay.
Doon, 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 doon.
Okay.
Doon.
Okay, we'll fill in the gaps. Where are we going next, Serena?
iPhone.
Whoa, not the iPhone.
That's close.
Jeff, with expandable storage devices coming to the iPad, now, I'm not sure if this will work on the iPhone and the iPad, just across devices in iOS 13. If somebody was wanting to get a new iPad and you could now use a thumb drive with it, would you go out and get the cheapest price model with the lowest amount of storage since you could expand it on your own externally?
Absolutely not.
Why so?
Well, if you remember back in the olden days when you got a computer and you got a small hard drive, as soon as your hard drive fills up, what was it, the C drive or something like that, when you put in other programs that want to store stuff, they're always going to look for that C drive. And then you had to go to the D drive, and then that was complicated. I think when you have an iPad of today's nature with the iCloud service that's built in across all your devices, I think that's where you're looking for more storage space. I think a thumb drive is for someone like, say, they're traveling traveling and they want to bring their 700 books for a 3-hour flight with them, they can plug it in and access those books without having to keep them on the iPad or the device that you're using. So I think it's an alternative way when you don't have the Wi-Fi or other capabilities to store stuff that you just don't want on the device. I would always recommend that you get the size of hard drive or the size of storage that you feel comfortable with. Take a look at your iPhone. What are you using today? I have a large enough one. I'm using over half of it right now, so I think I'll stick with that for the future. But it's surprising. Once you get above 64, you get to that 128, then the 250s, it's interesting where you land. So I would suggest people not to rely on the thumb drive for your storage, just for the functionality of your device to work independently whenever you want it to, but have the ability to plug in a thumb drive or something to bring in data that you just don't need on there. Where'd he go?
Brian, we cannot hear you.
Brian, turn the knob on.
It is turned on. I was turning it.
How you were
Really? Okay.
talking in
What
a can.
about now? How's that now? I should be at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, we're right here, right?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're
I
right
must
here.
Now
have
you're
turned
much
it fully
louder.
to 12. Dude, this
don't
knob
yell.
thing, knob turning I'm like that iPhone student that can't figure out how to use the rotor.
Practice with your tube of toothpaste.
Yeah. Serena, do you know how he uses toothpaste?
I
Don't worry
don't
about
know
it.
where you're going.
It's
with
personal
this.
information I'm not allowed to share.
I got my own toothpaste.
I know. I tried that one night, Jeff. It was really weird.
I can put the toothpaste tube in my mouth if I want to.
What are you, 4?
No.
I don't think I want to know where you're going with this. Even my kid doesn't put his toothpaste in his mouth like that. Jeez.
If it's his toothpaste, who cares how he puts it on his teeth?
so do you
or
not
his
use a toothbrush? I don't understand.
Oh my gosh. Why should I aim for a toothbrush when I can just put a little dab in my mouth?
Here at That Blind Tech Show, we want to know how you use your
You're
toothpaste.
so loud right now,
Email
Brian.
us in. I hate this thing. What about now?
I feel like you're
Brian?
on like 2 or 3.
I hate this knob.
Oh,
Brian,
man.
go back to 12 on your dial.
You're so loud.
You're just,
you're just
screaming at us.
It's not rocket science.
Here at That Blind Tech Show, we want to know how you use your toothpaste. So email us in at thatblindtechshow@gmail.com or just tweet us in and look like a crazy person at Blind Tech Show on the Twitter.
What did you say the Twitter handle was?
At Blind Tech Show?
Oh, okay.
Well, I could get one thing right?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's good to make sure that we get it right.
We believe you. We just verify.
And then verify again.
It's trust, Brian. Trust.
We now have an Apple Watch 5 coming out. Jeff, they didn't even talk about you. I think you're still running the Crank It Up Apple Watch, right?
Yeah, mine has the cuckoo that pops out.
Oh, that makes sense. Apple Watch 5, Serena, I know you're not an avid user of the Apple Watch, but really the only thing interesting they talked about here was that it was like always awake or always on. Considering the three of us rely on voiceover, I just don't see that as a very useful feature.
I do have an Apple Watch, and I reinstalled the software on it just yesterday, but I think it's on its last leg. I think I have this, when we figure out the Series 3. So I don't think I mean, I like the way it looks, and it's kind of nice to have the alerts on my wrist, but I don't know if I want to pay $329 for a new one.
Jeff, always on Apple Watch, and from what I understand, it's kind of dim still, but then once you raise your wrist, it'll brighten up and everything. I just don't really see that as a necessary feature for a voiceover user on the Apple Watch.
Well, I'm kind of excited about it because did you hear those people that could have died without their watch, but they had, their EKGs and all that stuff going on? So they're warned about their heart rates and all that stuff. It makes you feel like, without an Apple Watch, you're risking your life today. But I have the Series 2, and I'm at the point where I was optimistic about it, for $349? Is that the price of it?
I believe it was $349.
Yeah, $349 to get involved in it in the newer one, because I still have an upgrade that I still don't want to put on my watch, because if it slows down anymore, it'd be like
An actual real cuckoo watch?
Yeah, an actual real cuckoo watch. I got that from the Flintstones, you know what I mean? Good stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. Serena, the Flintstones was a great cartoon when they used to have great cartoons.
It's funny that you think I don't know what the Flintstones are.
Well, I didn't know. You're a millennial, so you like everything that's just awful in the world.
I like you, Brian.
Like I said, you like everything that's just awful in the world.
Well, Brian has a fan.
And her name is
One.
Lori Thompson.
No, we already know that I'm Lori's favorite.
Jeff won. Brian 1, Serena 1. Hey, we all have 1 now. That's a club.
I'm betting none of us have never used Apple Pay on the Apple Watch.
I have not.
Have either of you ever used Apple Pay on the iPhone? I've never.
I don't
think
want
I've ever-
to.
Well, besides,
I use it all the time.
like in a store. In a store.
At Apple.
I use it at the Apple Store, yeah.
Because it's so easy there. But I do a lot of shopping at a local boutique, and they send their invoices via Square, and you can use Apple Pay on Square on your phone.
And it works well?
Well, you kind of have to guess which button is Apple Pay, because there's one for Apple Pay and one for, I guess, Google Pay, and they're not labeled. But you tap it, and it pops right up as though you were at like a register for you to double click to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't even think any stores in my neighborhood take Apple Pay because I live in the 1950s, obviously. Yeah, hopefully in another 10 years it'll come here to New York in stores in Astoria. If you're not in the market for a new Apple Watch, but you don't have an Apple Watch yet, I thought this was great with a lot of Apple's price plans on other merchandise. Jeff, they've now dropped the Series 3 to starting out at $199.
Oh, yay. I mean, it's kind of like when you're ready for a new phone and all the ones that you already have are on sale. You know, it's like, I don't know. I think it's great if someone wants to get involved in the Series 3. That's one step up from mine. You know, I don't want to sound like a snob or anything, but if I'm going to upgrade, just like if anyone's going to upgrade to the new phones that we will be getting to, you know, usually it's a 2-year cycle or 3 years, it seems like is the new thing. And I'm not ready yet.
Well, and the other thing about upgrading you have to think about too is if you do upgrade to that Series 3, is it going to be obsolete next year and really slow down? When you think about it, if you're already spending $200, you might as well go up even to the 4 or the 5 so that you can have that longevity of the product a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's not low enough for me to have. I mean, Apple Watch is something that you get notifications or you get information that's pertinent. It's handy. It's a convenience more than a necessity, I think. So when I'm looking at the 5, this would be my time to do it. The 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, you know, this would be it. But I'm not excited yet about it because actually, is there a lot more than the 4 to the 5? I don't know.
Actually, the mainstream tech blogs were talking really besides the always on, there really wasn't much of an upgrade that Apple Watch 4 owners like myself would feel the need to upgrade. I don't plan to upgrade any of my devices. And we're fortunate that we all have our devices, I think, that we love. And we've been very fortunate that we've had these devices for a while and don't see the need to upgrade. But, you know, those of you that might be out there with older devices, I know people still using an iPhone 6 and it might be time to upgrade. iPhone 11, you know, coming out with 3 different models. You got the standard iPhone 11, a 6.1 display, and then you have 2 iPhone 11 Pro models, I believe, a 5.8 and a 6.5 display.
In a dark room, a finger reaches down from above to tap the screen of an iPhone. Titles: Introducing. A hand lifts a black iPhone with dual rear cameras. iPhone 11. People slip colorful iPhone 11s into pockets. A man tosses a product red iPhone 11 onto his passenger car seat. An alien emoji opens its mouth wide as the iPhone 11 slides off of the seat and tumbles toward the floor. Titles: Ready for action. Now, a cat knocks a black iPhone 11 off a glass desk. A woman drops a yellow iPhone 11 into a large purse. The screen lights up with a message notification as the iPhone 11 is jostled with the contents of the bag. Now, in a grocery store aisle, a woman aims the cameras on a purple iPhone 11 at a little girl. Titles: New dual cameras, ultra-wide photos. A man places a Project Red iPhone 11 at the edge of a sink. An owl emoji gapes as a drop of water splashes onto the rear cameras. In a coffee shop, a full cup of iced coffee spills over a green iPhone 11. Titles: Water resistant up to 2 meters for 30 minutes. A girl takes video of a praying mantis. Titles: Highest quality video on a smartphone. Slow-mo selfies. Slofies. A woman smiles in a slow-mo selfie. Titles: Faster Face ID. People unlock their iPhone 11 using Face ID. A baby looks down at a white iPhone 11. The screen reads, Face not recognized. The man in the car looks down between the seats. He grabs the fallen product red iPhone 11. Titles: Fastest chip in a smartphone. People play video games on their iPhone 11s. A match sparks to light a candle. In a dark bar, an iPhone 11 snaps a photo. A still image shows a man and 2 women at a masquerade party, the room lit by candles. Titles: Night mode. Now, people swipe and type. Titles: 6.1-inch liquid retina display. Men and women talk on their iPhone 11s. In a dark room, a man lowers his iPhone 11 onto a charger. The display shows 1/3 battery left. Titles: All day battery life. Battery life varies. A man awakens to look at a green iPhone 11 on his nightstand. Titles: iPhone 11, an Apple logo.
Pricing plans starting out at $699 for your basic iPhone and $999 and $1099 for your bigger iPhones. Jeff, what were your thoughts about the new iPhones?
I think it's a great starting point for anybody that wants to upgrade. There's a lot of people that I know that are still using a 5S, a 6, 6S, the 7s. 7's a good phone. I think the 8 and the 8 Plus are a good alternative for people right now, especially probably at the price point that they'll be going for. But the replacement to the 10R, which is the most popular phone that had for sales by Apple, is going to be the new kid on the block now is the 11. And at $699, I'm sure a lot of Android users are going, it's a good price point. It's not better than an Android price point, but it's a really good price point for an Apple brand new phone. And if you're looking to get a new phone, there's more ways to get it than just paying outright, cash for it. You can actually get it on loans, on payment plans, whether through Apple or through a carrier. And Verizon seems to have one of the best deals out there. If you're not on Verizon and you want to join Verizon, you can get a good deal, up to $200 cash card that you can use right on your account. Plus, you can get up to $500 trade-in value on an iPhone 8 or above, and that will give you $700. So, boom, there you go. You got the iPhone 11, $699, right? I'm sure there's other taxes and other fees included there, but you could also use that $700 for the credit towards the 11 Pro or the 11 Pro Max. And T-Mobile and Sprint, which haven't merged yet, they have two separate offers, but T-Mobile has where you can get up to $350 plus $200 on a credit if you switch over to these carriers. Or if you just want the new phone, you don't have to be a new customer like the Verizon deal. AT&T and Sprint has another deal that's similar to it, so check out these offers from companies, carriers. If you're not happy with the one you're with, or you want to switch, or it doesn't matter if you switch, check them out. You can get a good deal, especially on the iPhone 11, because most of these prices taunt with that number right there, $699. Or you can use it for a credit for the iPhone 11 Pro or the Pro Max. But another really great deal is going into the Apple Store, and you can trade in your phone and get credit right towards your new purchase. And they range from anywhere from $100 all the way up to $700, depending on what size, capacity, memory you have, and what phone you do have. Like the XS Max with 256 gigabytes of memory would be a lot higher than if you're trading in an 8 or a 7 iPhone. What's really convenient at the Apple Store, they can handle most of the carriers that are out there doing the upgrade to the phone and switching it over, and they will work with you to back up your phone, all that type of stuff. The other thing is, in no time at all, they can approve you for a loan so you can start a payment plan with the deduction of what your trade-in value is. You might be down to $20 a month for 2 years for your phone, or whatever it adds up to, because there's different price points that they come down in whichever phone you get. So, and another thing about trade-in value is if you have a crack in the screen or chips in the corners and stuff be aware of that. It's a good time to check it out. If you're looking for the new phone, if you're looking for a new carrier, there's options out there. So just don't go for the first plan that you come across. Investigate what's best for you and check it out.
Hey, that Samsung that I had for a month was rocking $1,000. So a lot of the top of the end Android are just as expensive as the Apple product. Serena, I was just finally relieved that Apple dropped all the letters after the phone, because I was beginning to lose track of what phone was what.
I don't know why they ever had the letters. I mean, it dates back to what was the first one? 3G, 3GS, 4S. I don't know why they said the S is for speed, and then nobody ever said what the R is for when they did the 10R.
Recycled.
Is that really what it was? I feel like you're just making that up.
I am. So if you're doing a homework assignment for your class, don't quote that blind tech show ever.
No.
We are not a reliable source.
Bad tech show.
But it's confusing to the average consumer, and because we look at this stuff, we study it, and even we get confused. Imagine somebody who's just shopping for a new phone, and they go to the store, and here's your 10R, your 10S, your 10S Max. It's confusing.
I've heard people's heads explode in the Apple Store, at least 3 times a year. So it was quite confusing and everything. I had no idea what the letters meant and everything. I think Tim Cook was the only one that knew what the letters meant. Now, the one thing that did catch my attention came up during this section, and whenever I hear the word audio, Obviously, we rely on our ears. But Jeff, what do you think this spatial audio for the new iPhones might actually mean? Do you think it might mean a higher boost in voiceover volume?
You mean the Dolby Atmos, the sound that they're going to be having? It's been around for a while in different iterations and stuff, and it's been getting better and better all the time. So that's something that I really want to check out and hear. Is it something that I'll hear on headphones, or will it be good enough to hear right off the phone, when you're just listening to it? Or is it just something definitely for headsets or Bluetooth headsets? That's something that I really want to hear, because I can't wait till the day we announce that Blind Tech Show and Blind Abilities podcast are now in spatial sound.
Yeah, it could definitely be something that only works with movies or TV. It might have no effect on voiceover. That's the one thing I'm definitely interested in. The spatial audio, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that might only, really work with audio that you're playing and not necessarily voiceover. So it's something that I plan to go to the newly reopened Apple Fifth Avenue store, which I didn't even know was closed. I think it wasn't fully closed. I think it was partially closed for renovations. At least go to the store and check it out. The only problem, Serena, what about the Apple stores there in Colorado? Can you hear anything in there?
No, it's super loud, and I do have some residual vision, so it's very easy to walk into a door there because everything's clear. It's not the best place unless you go during a really down off-peak time. Otherwise, there's 150 other people, everyone talking very excitedly. It's very difficult to be in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe on Fifth Avenue on the glass they had the curtain on.
The screen curtain.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was wondering with that new always on watch. Do you think they'll introduce the watch curtain?
That's interesting. Always on. I don't know what that means, always ready. I thought my watch was always ready, it just depended if I turned it up or down. And the haptics,
Always awake, I think, would have been a better terminology than always on.
Well, what do they have now? Night mode?
Yeah, dark mode, night mode, sleep mode. They've got lots of modes. Ice cream mode.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I was disappointed. We didn't get any shots at Facebook today, but Jeff, did you notice they did take a little shot at Android when they were discussing the A13 chip, which, how come the iPhone's 3 chips ahead of the iPad, but the A13 chip, which must be wicked fast, they said it's 2 years ahead of Android devices.
Yeah, they kind of said that. I'm just wondering, if they're so proud of it, why didn't they just call it the A14? That's how good it is.
Why the A14?
I don't know. Why just go up one notch?
I have no idea what the difference between one chip. I know it's speed, but A10, A13 means absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah, well, if it's twice as fast, why don't they say it's an A24? I don't know.
Or why isn't it a B?
Yeah.
She's the brains on the show, people.
Why start at A anyways? There's no room up.
Hey, I don't know. I have no idea where they come up with these names. Scientists are doing it in deep, deep dungeons in China.
They're just coming up with new acronyms for the screens and the chips and the silicone and
Interestingly enough, iOS 13 has a drop date, September 19th, the day before all these phones and iPads are shipping. Serena and I have been running the beta of iOS 13. Serena, what are your thoughts? Would you suggest people install iOS 13 the day it comes out, or would you suggest they wait a little?
I would suggest that they wait. I'm now on the iOS 13.1 public beta 2 because Apple's weird, and I've never seen them do this before, but they released the public betas of 13.1 before they even got out of beta of iOS 13. And I would definitely wait till 13.1. My only warning of that is it completely breaks accessibility of third-party keyboards, 13.1. Unless they fix it in this next release, you get no audio feedback when you're deleting or exploring the keyboard. So it makes it pretty much useless if you use like FlickType or Flexi, or I'm not sure of how it is on Umbrel. Yeah, be careful. But definitely, I would not recommend getting 13 on the day it comes out. I know a lot of people are very excited about it, and I was one of them. That's why I did the beta, and it is quite buggy unless they've changed the Gold Master significantly.
I've been using it on my old iPhone, so I don't use it that much. I was playing around with it a lot today. One of the nice things I kind of noticed, and this is something very minor that I'm probably the only person that had an issue with it, but whenever you're in the notification center and you expand notifications in iOS 12, it always lands you on the second one, so you have to flick back to the left and to delete that one and everything. I did notice in iOS 13 it does start you out on the first one. I haven't really noticed any issues in iOS 13, and I'm running the most current issue of the developers beta. I haven't made any phone calls. I have not tried to type on it, which I will do, I guess, us after this. Jeff, what are your thoughts? Would you suggest since you're not running a beta, will you be installing iOS 13 on September 19th?
No, I am not running the beta. Like, why do we already have 13.1 out? I think they're loading up all the new phones with it. I don't know what system they're going with this year, but I won't be doing it. I'm running the beta on my MacBook Pro, and this is the first time in a long time that there's been so many problems with the betas. A lot of low breaking things, and it always goes, Serena, back to the Braille. It's one of those tricky areas and stuff. I won't be doing it. There's a beta that just dropped today for the MacBook and for the iPhone. So check that out. Maybe they fix it.
Well, and the interesting thing is 13.1 will release only 11 days after iOS 13. The drop date for that is September 30th. So it's not a significant amount of time you have to wait for maybe a little bit more stable of a system. Again, unless you're using a third-party keyboard, proceed with caution.
That's very true. And I don't ever recall a release date for a new operating system coming out and them already announcing the 0.1 date of the operating system coming out. Do you, Jeff?
No, that's why this 13 must be the unlucky 13. For some reason, this one started out with red flags. It's been going on. Everyone's always looking for the next one to fix things. And, I belong on a WhatsApp group that talks about this all the time. And I'm so glad that I'm not involved in this beta. I have the developer credentials to do it, but I just didn't want to do it to my iPhone because I use it all the time. I have an iPhone 7, but the 7, I don't know if that's a muscle enough of a machine to really be testing the beta, because some of those betas, your phone warms up, the battery suffers a little bit until they tweak it a little more. And even on my Mac, my MacBook Pro, not my Mac, but my MacBook Pro, I ran into problems right off the bat. So I'm just waiting it out.
Yeah, I've always said, if you're really happy with the way one of your devices is running, and unless there's a real new feature that you really want, you don't need to upgrade. But I did install the beta pretty early on in iOS 12, as that was such a fantastic upgrade. I haven't decided if I'm going to run out on day one and install iOS 13. I will be reading a lot more about it on my main device and everything. I'll play around with it a little more on my older device. But, they announced a lot of new iPhones, Jeff, and the one thing that I took away from all of them was, with the more expensive models, everything seemed to primarily be about gaming, photos, or video, which is fantastic. But a lot of us in the blindness community don't do any of that. So have we really reached a point where the low end is a perfect device for somebody that's visually impaired?
Well, other than OCR, for the camera, there's a lot of people with low vision that can manipulate a camera and enjoy the camera. So hats off to them to have that opportunity. But from $699 to $999 all the way to $1099. And did you notice they didn't really say the iPhone 11 Pro Max? That's $400 difference.
Every detail has been used as an opportunity to set new standards in design, quality, and engineering, ensuring it will deliver uncompromising performance in any situation. At the core of the iPhone 11 Pro design is a stainless steel structural band and a three-dimensional glass back, made from the toughest glass in a smartphone.
A sheet of iPhone 11 Pro glass.
It's sculpted from a single solid sheet.
A drill pierces the sheet of glass.
Reinforced down to the atomic level.
The glass is submerged.
And then brought to life in one of 4 textured matte finishes.
Silver, space gray, midnight green, and gold.
The enclosure is designed to withstand what life can throw at it.
A machine drops an iPhone 11 Pro against asphalt.
Rigorous testing and refining have helped create a durable, dust, and water-resistant iPhone.
An arc of spigot spray in iPhone 11 Pro. Titles, water resistant up to 4 meters for up to 30 minutes.
The Apple-designed A13 Bionic chip is the most ambitious to date. It's the fastest chip ever in a smartphone, yet more efficient than ever. And with new optimized batteries that give you up to 5 extra hours in your day, you get more pro performance in an iPhone for longer than ever.
Light slides around the edge of an iPhone 11 Pro.
The triple camera system combines cutting-edge technology with the extraordinary ease of iPhone. The redesigned camera interface complements the new hardware with a more immersive and intuitive experience.
Unless you put a big value on the extra camera lenses, if you can utilize that, I don't see a $400 benefit for someone to purchase or upgrade to the 11 Pro or the Pro Max, unless you really value the battery size and probably the sound.
Yeah. Serena, $300 to $400 for a third camera. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't know. I do use my phone a lot to take pictures. I And with iOS 13, I will say that it significantly improves your ability with VoiceOver to take some really good pictures because it gives you a lot more information on the positioning of your camera. And I'm told I take decent pictures. So me having a young son, I could totally see myself finding the camera a little bit more worth it to take some better pictures.
Especially with the slow motion selfies, the slowfies that you can take.
Good lead-in. Apple continues to enable millennials and the butchering of the English language. Jeff, can you explain to me what in the world a slowfie is?
Well, on the front-facing camera where you would take a selfie, Brian, a selfie is when you take a picture of yourself.
Why would I want to take a picture of myself? Oh, that's right. You don't know what I look like, Jeff.
But if you did, that's a selfie. Well, now with their front-facing camera, the one you'll take a selfie with, they have a 7-megapixel camera with the ability to take video in 60 frames per second, which is a big step up from where they were before, plus the ability to take slow motion video. So maybe a star is born, but also the slowfie is born too. Thank you, Apple.
Yeah, I think George Carlin's 7 dirty little words will be much more remembered than Apple's 7 new invented words. Serena, you're a fan of the invented shortened word. Do you plan to start using all these new Apple terms in your daily vocabulary?
No, slowfie sounds horrible. Like, it's a dumb word. I think it's funny that they're trying to trend with this. Even if you do take selfies, why on earth would you need to take a slow-mo selfie? I don't understand. What's the purpose?
I have no clue. It just...
Have you ever seen me enter a party? It used to sound like this, but now with slowfie, it goes like this. I get it.
It sounds like that song by Carly Simon. You walked into the party.
Like you're walking into an Apple store, Bri.
What's memoji? I still don't even know what a memoji is. Can you explain that to me, Serena?
It's a memoji.
Memoji.
So that might help you understand it better.
Memoji.
It's your own personalized emoji that's me. So you can make it look like you, but it's an animated emoji.
Can blind people do this, and why would they want to?
I've never tried it because I just don't care.
Yeah.
I have done it. What it is like, say you wanted to do it. Now, there's a donkey on there, Brian. So when you're talking, the camera's looking at you. So when you open your mouth, the donkey opens its mouth. When you turn your head, the donkey turns its head. So when you say, "Welcome to That Blind Tech Show," and then turn to read your notes, the person would see the donkey, voice that with the teeth and everything, and then turn to read the notes and then come back.
I'm picturing Roy Samuelson here. Brian reaches over. He smacks Jeff Thompson. A donkey? Seriously? That is extremely... I'm a sensitive man, Jeff. I'm going to go and cry after this show.
It's animojis. Yeah.
You couldn't use like a cat or a dog. You had to use a donkey. Hee-haw.
I can't believe you're pretending that you're offended by this.
I'm highly offended.
Of course.
I'm highly offended. I'm a sensitive podcaster, Serena.
I'm probably going to get a letter from a donkey going, "What?"
I am offended that you would personify Brian as me.
So, C'est La Vie 3D Touch, Serena. It is gone by the wayside, and now Tactic Touch, which honestly, when I read this, I couldn't tell what the difference was. Were you ever a user of 3D Touch, Serena?
I actually use 3D Touch all the time. With iOS 13, there's this new, with voiceover gesture, when you swipe up and down on things, one of the choices now is context menu, which I think is when you push it, it's the same thing that would happen if you did 3D Touch on something. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's not going to be missed. It's just learning a new gesture for it. I honestly think people had a lot of trouble doing the 3D Touch piece because it does take a lot of practice to understand it.
Yeah, I tried on Twitterific on my current iOS 12. I did, do the 3D Touch, and it opened up where I could switch accounts quickly. That's really the only place I use it. And I tried it on iOS 13, and I was like, wait a minute, I guess that's gone. And maybe I just didn't see that context menu because I honestly only spent about 2 seconds on it. There were some things there, and maybe one of them was context menu. I just was like, I guess that's not ready for prime time yet. Jeff, how about yourself? 3D Touch user, take it or leave it? Tactile touch, or you just never touch your phone?
Well, I think sometimes you can touch something and hold for a second and it'll do almost the same thing. So I think they're finding a cheaper way that some of the features that they have today, they can build a lot cheaper screen, don't have to put all that money behind it, let's say. You can still get the same thing done, but not having that cost involved. I'm not going to miss it.
No, I don't think a lot of people are.
Brian, are you saying tactile touch or haptic touch?
He said both.
I honestly don't even know.
Because I think it's haptic.
I don't even
It's
know what
haptic
is it
touch.
haptic? Is it haptic or tactic? I don't even know what the difference between peak and pops are. I was.
It's haptic touch, though.
Hey, we almost got through one show without me getting something wrong. So at least I have a perfect record of getting at least something wrong on every show.
Yeah, haptic touch. I do like haptic touch a lot better than 3D touch.
And this is a question that I can't ask Jeff, but Serena, one thing on iOS 13 that I've noticed in my limited time with it, I'm constantly getting asked, would I like to allow Bluetooth access to a specific app or locations? And I went into Bluetooth and location service settings, could not find anywhere to just agree to all or anything. Are you getting these notifications popping up constantly?
I am getting the Bluetooth ones. I don't even understand why or what it means. Like, if I've given my iPhone permission to connect to a Bluetooth device, why do I have to then enable it for every
But
app?
it's for an app.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
Like an app is asking permission to use Bluetooth. And I'm like, one, I don't understand why it would. And two, stop asking me.
Yes. And then the location thing is happening where but I think it was happening in iOS 12 as well, where it would pop up every once in a while and say, Nest has been using your location in the background. Do you want to continue to allow it? And it's like, well, I guess. So that I don't know if that location piece is unique to iOS 13, but the Bluetooth thing is definitely, in the latest versions, it hasn't been doing it as much, but maybe that's because all the apps I've allowed it by now. But it was super annoying when I first updated.
Yeah, because it's one after another, and you're like, geez. One thing in the limited month I had on Android, you are constantly asked on Android about apps, using location, use this, use that. And unfortunately, I think this is the problem we're running in today with all these privacy concerns. I'm talking to you, Europe. Thanks a lot. Jeff, what are your thoughts about, because of recent lawsuits and litigation, I guess that's the same thing, that now you're going to have to constantly allow things to perform certain tasks or use certain permissions?
Well, I think it really comes down, when you're talking about location and Bluetooth, it makes me think about indoor navigation as well. And I think there's a lot of things that are in these new phones that are coming out that we don't know yet. Maybe we'll find out more in October, November when the iPad event happens. Because, we didn't get the Tile thing, and the Tile uses, either Bluetooth or location. So I think a lot of this is stuff that's in beta. Of course, it's in beta right now, but I think it has to do with them trying to come up with their own devices that, like the Tile device, the tracker device, whatever they're going to call it, the tag, the Apple tag. I mean, because I was reading, you'll be able to, like, if you leave your phone in a restaurant and you get so many feet away from it, you'll get a warning. I think the convergence of all these little technologies, and I may be way off, but I really do think it's coming down to Apple wants you to buy into their products so they all interrelate, so you know where everything is. And that's what I think is happening a little bit.
Yeah, that could also have something to do with the, is it the U1 chip, Jeff? Am I getting that correct, or am I butchering that too? Where I could be across the room for somebody, supposedly, and if I want to share a photo with them, I could just zap it to them by pointing my phone at them. But what if there are two people standing next to each other with an iPhone? How will it know which one I'm pointing at, Jeff?
Well, yeah, the ultra wideband, it's another way of, like I was saying, you're turning it towards another iPhone, and a person happens to have an iPhone, so it's another Apple device. This interrelationship between the Apple products, I think, is what they're trying to do to make people believe that, well, it's a few more dollars, but I might as well get the Apple so it interacts with the products. And it'd be interesting to see, say you have the HomePods at home and you have your phone, would it know where you are to turn the stereo better for you, or walk through your house and your Apple kit? Is that where they're going with all this? It'd be kind of interesting as you walk in and out of a room that the light goes on and off. And it's kind of interesting times. I think right now the technology is probably built in there, but we haven't seen it reach a device that we can purchase today. But I think it's coming.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool if you're watching a video or something on your iPhone and you get home and you could just point your phone at the Apple TV and it would just, boom, shoot over to the Apple TV and start playing over there. What are your thoughts, Serena, about pointing your phone at things and information just shooting through the sky to somebody else?
Well, the way that they explained it was kind of like you would point your phone to a certain direction and it would bring that person to the top of your airdrop, selections, and you still have to select them. So I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing like the long-term possibility for it, but it seems like it's not that much different than how it's working now anyway. When you airdrop something to someone, I think it would be cool, like what you guys are talking about though, if that fully integrates where, you come home and all of a sudden your playlist is now playing on your HomePod again, where you left off, or you were watching Netflix on your bus ride home and now you pointed at your Apple TV and it automatically starts resuming it there. Now that would be something like you guys were saying.
Otherwise, that's pointing the phone. It's like a new game for kids, like spin the bottle or something, like, okay, spin your phone.
Updated version of spin the bottle.
For $699.
Jeff, I just noticed Serena used a word that Tim Cook didn't even utter once today. And that word, Serena, is HomePod. They were missing.
Which is really weird. Because I heard there were rumors that they're working on a HomePod like mini or light.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be in the November event.
If I could find 2 HomePods, I would get them. I still agree that they have some of the best technology for the money that you can get in a speaker today.
Well, you can't find them in stores anymore? They're just that obsolete?
Well, I'm not going to go buy them at a store and pay top dollar. I'm waiting for, someone to get rid of them or something.
But we love our HomePods. Like, they sound so good. Like, good luck with that.
Hey, I love my Sonos speakers, and Sonos just announced their first portable one with Bluetooth, but I just don't have a need for that. How about yourself there? The Sonos Boom, I think it was called?
They call it the Move.
The Move. Well, that's an original one. Sonos Move. Jeff, Sonos Move in your future?
I have too many Bluetooth speakers, and I do have the Sonos ones. I really like them. They work great. Connect up with your Amazon device or the Google device, depending on which one you prefer. I do like them. And I'm surprised that I like them as well. I do. I have them in the kitchen up above the cabinets, and it's just nice because it shoots across the kitchen dining room area. It's just nice on a weekend to have it on, especially during the autumn.
Serena, do you know, can you use Sirius XM on the HomePod? Do you have any idea?
You probably can with a shortcut or by airplaying it to it. I don't think it's built in. And you were super rude to Jeff just now. You were so rude to Jeff right now.
I didn't mean to cut him off. I said it.
And then you kept doing it.
Jeff.
Brian.
We got a lot of new products. I know I'm not in the market for any of them, but I did really like their new price plans for everything from Apple TV to the iPhones to the iPads. What were your overall thoughts about the products that came out and the direction Apple's headed?
I think it's really good. Like I said earlier on, parents that want to outfit their children with an iPad, I think that's a great price point. And for students, they can get it for $299. That's a $30 savings, but that's $30. When you think of all the students, that's Apple's doing a good thing for them. And the entry point for the phone, $699. If someone has a 10, an 8, 8 plus, I don't know if you really need to right now, but if you're sitting at a 6, definitely that $699 is appealing. And they always have a plan for 2 years. You could probably get around for $30, $32 a month on a price plan from Apple. So it is affordable. Plus you can trade in your phone. I don't know what they give you for a 6 nowadays, but they do have nice plans for it. I'm excited for people on those price points. $499 a month for Apple TV Plus. I was shocked when I saw that price point. It's pretty good. So I think it's a good move by Apple to really be conscious about the cost of their products, the entry points for their products. And yes, we still have the pros up there that's going to command a little bit more money, but this is a good option.
And one thing that came out after the announcement is from day one now you could get a unlocked iPhone, so you don't have to commit to a carrier right off the bat, which was something you used to have to do. Serena, what were your thoughts about all the new products and everything that was announced today?
Honestly, I was really underwhelmed. I do agree with Jeff in that it's really nice to see some of the price points dropping down to a little bit more affordable, especially for last year's devices and the 8 and 8 Plus and those sorts of things. But Apple hasn't been innovative in a while now, and I know that's like their favorite word, but there's just nothing exciting happening. I know it sounds really bad, but this used to be like a day that I would like really look forward to, and today I was just like, meh, I don't know. What did you think, Brian?
Well, I haven't been excited in years, and that has to do with more than just Apple. I like the price plans. I'm interested to see Apple TV Plus, as I am a entertainment person, not a music person. And unfortunately, I feel that Apple is moving more in a direction of entertainment and services with really everything that's come out this year with the Apple Card, Apple TV Plus, Apple News Plus, and it just seems like there was not a lot of improvements, at least from a non-visual perspective, with the iPhones today. I've already got my iPads. They're working great. And, supposedly the rumors are already starting for 2020 that there's going to be a massive redesign for the iPhone and everything. So, they say they're on a 3-year cycle and we're due in 2020. But honestly, besides it being a square more to a rounder around the edges, I've never really noticed a big change in any of the iPhones, just little changes here and there. So overall, a little underwhelmed, but I'm trying to stay more positive, Serena, because some people think I could be a little too negative. So it's what I expected. Unfortunately, that's really, I guess, the statement about Apple from me. Unfortunately, it's what I expected, and I was underwhelmed, and it was what I expected. But let's end it on a positive note. Serena, what do you have going on in the next few weeks?
Well, the last couple of weeks, I've actually had a couple of times where I've been being filmed for a documentary that's going to be airing on PBS. So I'm really excited about that. It's a documentary about individuals with disabilities and employment. And it's specifically going to be targeting employers to show how valuable individuals with disabilities are to the employment world. So that's exciting.
And they picked you.
I know. I feel so fancy.
Jeff, we are here with a celebrity, or I should say future celebrity. Are you still going to be on That Blind Tech Show after you blow up and have, Twitter followers and everything?
Of course.
Jeff, anybody stalking you and following you around, or what do you got going on?
Oh, yeah. This goes out to Janelle. But seriously, I was serious, but seriously, Serena. Yeah, you'll probably be doing a slow fee, won't you? I mean, now that you're Hollywood, you got to get your slow fee out there, right?
No.
That's great that your employment is doing that, getting the word out there to people. It's going to be on PBS. Most of these things they just put on their website and it's available for people. They get 300-400 hits and stuff like that. But PBS, that's a lot bigger. So good for you. Good for their initiative to get the word out there about employment. As for myself, over the next few weeks, oh my gosh, I got so many little things going down to a small town. We're going to see a play. It's a play musical on the Back to the 50s. So that's going to be fun down to Zumbrota. Yeah, got a lot of little things coming up on the weekends. It's autumn, folks. Autumn.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. We had a couple nice days of weather, but then it got warm here again in New York. And like I said, my single biggest focus is football. Preparing for Laugh for Sight, which is coming up quickly. So just testing out new material. If you're in the New York City area, Monday, October 28th. We're still waiting. We're expecting potential news this week. We just can't announce certain names publicly yet, but Rich Voss, Bonnie McFarlane, legendary comedian Robert Klein, Brian McKenna, Chrissy Myers, as well as Mark Norman, host Brian McCarthy, of course, myself, and I guess for now, we are out.
All right, boys. Cue our funky music, right?
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the reality
of blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.